The Moser Leather Company was founded in New Albany, Indiana by George Moser in 1878. Beginning in the building of a previous leather company, Moser built the business. In 1914, two big events occurred. George Moser passed away and the building burned. This building, built in 1905, originally called the Indiana Leather Company, was renamed George Moser Leather Company after Mr. Moser's passing. This photo from the company's website shows the tannery soon after the construction of the new building. The Moser Leather Company operated out of this building until 2002. In the 1990s, they began using an old-fashioned method of tanning. This method lasted about 4 weeks and used a mixture of tree bark and water. The new tanning process was said not to be environmentally damaging, and the water from the process drained into a low-lying area below. This led to the development of a 47-acre wetland known as the Loop Island Wetlands. Another photo from the company's website, an aerial view, shows the tanning complex along with the wetlands adjacent to it. This shows just how big the wetlands really are. Locally, this area is known as Blood Pond due to a reddish tint in the water. It was said that the blood from the hides was drained down the hill behind the building and that that's why the water is red. From my research, I learned that this is just local legend. The red tint comes from a red algae that is nourished by the high nutrient content of the water. The wetlands were originally used to dilute the chemical waste from the old method of tanning. In 1986, the tannery added $5,000 worth of aquatic plants to enhance the treatment process. After the tannery ceased operations in 2002, it was purchased by Al Goodman, who opened the wetlands to the public as a nature preserve the very next year. For 12 long years, the property has sat empty. Al Goodman had plans to develop part of the tannery into the very first tanning museum and the other larger buildings seen here into apartments, but there have been many setbacks. In the background, you can see two separate buildings, one to the left and one to the right. These two buildings were one until January of 2005. There was a small fire, and the combined weight of the snow and ice created by the firemen's efforts led to a partial roof collapse. This rendered nearly 30,000 square feet unusable. As can be seen in these photos, the buildings have fallen into extreme disrepair. They are decaying on the inside along with the outside. If something isn't done soon, these buildings may be lost forever. The wood is rotting, the metal is rusting, and the ceiling is collapsing onto the floor and into the tanning pits below. The roof here also appears to have been damaged by fire, and the buildings are being attacked by vandals. Without some swift and extreme help, these buildings may not be standing much longer. After the roof collapsed, the tanning pits filled with water, and plant life flourished. The elements have been harsh. This area was never meant to withstand this kind of exposure. It may soon be totally reclaimed by nature. Hundreds, if not thousands, of frogs begin their life here as tadpoles in these waters. Behind the tannery, over the creek below, sit two bridges out of commission and decaying. The bridge seen here was built in 1906 by the Riverside Bridge Company for the former Baltimore and Ohio Railroad, later CSX, and was in use until 2001. This bridge, most likely built in the late 1800s, was part of the Pennsylvania Railroad. One source says it was officially abandoned on April 1, 1976. I could not find any information regarding the relationship of these bridges to the tannery, but I am guessing one or both may have been used in the transportation of hides and later the finished product. These bridges are both slated to be converted to pedestrian bridges as part of the Rails to Trails program. I only hope they are safe before the trestles succumb to the elements.